Welcome to the Some Laugh podcast.
It could be like, oh, that was some laugh, or there was just some laughs.
Some laughs.
Well, no promising all laugh.
No, there's going to be some.
It's some laugh. Hello, right, we're back in Edinburgh.
Back in business in Edinburgh,
At
where
the-
dreams are made.
The Monkey Barrel Studio.
We're back. We're some laugh. We're multiple different accents.
Yeah, it's a Scottishman, an Englishman, and an Italian. So
The classic joke.
This cunt's never been to Italy.
We should all walk in.
By the way.
I have.
I'm sure I asked you once and you told me you'd never been to
No.
Italy.
and depending who you ask, he's not Irish either.
I'm neither.
I'm sure you are. Did I make that up?
Yeah.
Did you not get a quote
I
once?
haven't been loads. I've been maybe 4 times,
Right, okay.
which isn't very much at all, but I have been.
But have you
Okay,
been back
fair
to
enough.
where you're meant to be fair? Have you just been to
I've
see the
been to-
Colosseum and
I've
shit?
been to where my nonna grew up,
Where is that?
Olivella, in a region called Frosinone between Rome and Naples.
Oh.
Yeah.
Frosinone.
And it's just so great. There's so many bits of Italian culture that I want to be I just want to stand. You know the old Italian men that just stand there?
Yeah.
That's just what they do all day. They just
sit,
stand there.
whenever you go in Europe and you just see these like old boys just sitting around, like the
It's
Sopranos,
beautiful.
just like drinking espressos. And
Outside shops.
you
and all.
never see that here.
Well, it's always raining.
People don't like to hang out though in the same way.
Do you think though, because I've heard this recently in relation to our attitude to work versus other cultures, and other cultures are laid back and they've got more of a balance, and you know there's that sort of social thing, and where you will just sit about all day, or is it just that they've got fuck all to do?
They probably have fuck all to do. A lot of them are like older, you know,
Yeah.
they're sort of like
yeah,
a
you don't
guy
really
in
see
their 60s,
the young
70s.
team sort of sitting around. So the old people here, they probably are sitting around, but just out of sight.
No, they're just in their house watching the
In care
telly,
homes,
sitting
I
3
think.
fucking inches.
Maybe
Maybe
it's Italy doesn't have like a social care system. So what should be care homes are just street corners. And it's just a lot of confused men with dementia. And people think they're playing like bocce, you know, like throwing rocks towards stuff, but they're
They
just
think they're feeding fish.
Do you think they're just contemplating losing the Second World War, just like
big fish. Big fish food. Whoa. That's a
Sorry for
heifer.
saying that you've never been to Italy when you have.
That's okay. I haven't been loads and loads.
Have you been as an adult?
Yeah,
Right, okay.
yeah. First time I was 12 and then again at like 15, but then I did a tour show in Rome. I did two tour shows in Rome. Or maybe just one.
Oh, okay. I reckon that you said to me you hadn't been as an adult a couple of years ago, and then since then you've been to Rome.
That would make sense. That would add up.
Okay,
Yeah,
we got
that
to the
could
bottom
be,
of it.
that
End of
could be spot
episode.
on.
Think of a
Can
tuning into
you-
this. What?
or would you ever want to speak Italian?
I'd love to speak Italian. My
Aye.
older brother does. He lived in Venice for a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was quite. So yeah, I'd love to, but I'd also love to speak Irish. I mean, one of them's more useful than the other one, but like, I sort of think, I don't know. Like, English is so boring to speak. On some level, you know, like there's that old Tommy Tiernan bit where it's like the English language is a prison, and fuck is my chisel.
He fuck his way out of prison.
Yeah, basically.
It's very refreshing when you go to a country where no one speaks English.
Yeah, that's good.
Like, because in Europe, at most places you go to, everyone you can, if you can't speak the local language at all, you can get by just, pointing and shouting.
Do you know, it's something that's a bit intimidating to me because in recent times, the only places I've really been abroad, other than like a wee holiday resort or something, has been like Australia and America. So like, I'd love to go to Paris or Rome or somewhere like that, but it does intimidate me to go. And I know it's fine with your phone and that now, but
Everyone in Paris and Rome can speak English. Everyone in Paris pretends they can't, but they can.
I
Yes,
know.
so I don't like Paris as a place. I don't think it's that fun or cool. I like Rome, but also you're right. If you just speak English to a French person, they're annoyed about it. If you try to speak French badly to a French person, they're also annoyed about it.
Yeah, yeah.
They're
They
fucking
get grumpy at you.
furious.
They
They're
laugh.
like,
I got laughed at.
Why are you butchering our language?
This is not how you speak.
But then
Yeah.
you just English and they're like, make an effort. At least
yeah.
do it," and you're like,
But
"Wow."
they have this weird way of pronouncing everything that nobody else in the world does. They always go,
That's just a different language. That's just.
You're
no, but because right, so I've spoken about this in the pod before, even in this exact studio, right? But because we had Sally in here one time and I was asking her this,
Right,
the only thing I remember for French was, and it's because we're getting told this this phrase, and then a guy who used to be in my class, he used to have to get away 5 minutes early to get to the next class because he couldn't
It
move
was
about.
really
His,
slow, yeah.
he was his leg was fucked, and so he was leaving the class and he was shouting this phrase, "C'est m'est égal," which apparently means it's all one to me, right? And then so when I met a mine from Paris, and I was like, "Do you ever say Semitic gal?" And he's like, "Nah." But at first he didn't. He's like, "What?" And I said Semitic, and he went, "Oh, Semitic gal." And I'm like, "I'm not obviously saying that. I'm not going to fucking say that." You know what I mean? But then he was like, "No, I don't say that." And I was disappointed. And he goes, "Well, do you ever say it's all one to me?" And I was like, "I guess not."
What does that mean?
It is what it is. Like, you would
Ah,
say
right,
that. You know
okay.
what I mean?
Comme si, comme ça.
It's all the same.
Yeah,
6 and 1,
yeah.
6 and 2, 3.
Yeah, all
Exactly.
All that stuff. But then in Italy, if you give even the vaguest attempt at speaking Italian, you're getting extra scoops of ice cream.
That. Is it same in Japan? If you say
you
anything
speak
in Japanese,
Italian in Japan,
yeah, you're getting
fucking
extra
love
scoops of ice cream.
Well, they say,
It's a ramen place, but they found ice cream because this guy is special.
well, they say the most important thing you can do if you go to a country where they speak a different language is learn to say please and thank you.
No, the most important thing to learn is if you don't show me what I need to know right now, I'll take me to the British Embassy and I'll have you arrested and sent to prison under Crown and Country.
Well, I've got a bit of a theory. I know you're jesting here, Liam, but I've got a bit of a theory, right? That I think, because there's a stereotype of English people going abroad and like, you know, asking the waiter to speak, like they just speak slower and louder.
Do you do bacon rolls?
But I think the reason that English people think that works is because that's how Scottish people need to speak to be understood by yous. So you just think, oh, they're the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just years of ignorance, and basically it's all around football competitions, right? Like
Pretty much.
they go to
And one World War, apparently.
well,
Well, 2 World Wars and 1 World Cup, of course.
Sorry,
Yeah.
the third one's coming up.
it's when you go
World
to
Cup or World War? Both? It's in America next year.
It could be 3-2.
Why not get it 2 for 1?
That's funny. Both the World Cup and the World War are going to be in America this year.
Honestly, that may happen. There we go.
yeah, it's when you go to like Magaluf or whatever, and you see the laminated English breakfast menu
With pictures.
with pictures.
Yeah. Eggs. That's eggs. I know eggs. Eggs is eggs.
Eggs is ouf in French.
Yeah.
Oh, aye. Well, my dad went to Paris once and he got an egg in the middle of his pizza.
Right?
And because I don't know what he thought he was ordering, but
Just
I think-
That's the most British abroad story I've ever heard. He went to fucking Paris, right? You'll never believe what those fucking French are doing there, right? Is an egg on a fucking pizza.
I've never really got to the bottom of whether it was a mistake and they were like, what the fuck, or whether they just do that though.
Do you think they thought he specifically asked for an egg?
We have an Englishman in. What is it they say? Englishman in the restaurant, egg on the pizza, right?
Wiki, eggs on pizza.
I could imagine my dad accidentally ordering that and then being inside them and they're like, you sure? He was like, yeah. But maybe that's just what they do now.
And if he's got this, you put the black pudding and the sausage the square on it.
Well, it's funny though because you're saying about English, because obviously there is English breakfast everywhere, but there is a lot of Scottish holiday makers, and I would not necessarily exclude myself from this, who when you're in Tenerife or whatever, you will seek out the one Scottish pub because they will do like potato scones with the Scottish breakfast.
You're away for a week.
I know.
You cannot have tatty scones for a week,
Because
right?
the thing is, you're going weeks without tatty scones in Scotland. It's
Yeah.
not like you're having them actually every day, but it's when you go away, there's a fear that you might not need what they might not be available in an emergency.
And as soon as you come back from anywhere, you're having a fucking tatty scone. As soon as you get back from abroad,
Straight back from Portugal, straight into Nando's. Like, this is such insane behaviour. Eating no Scottish food at any point when you're in Scotland and then going abroad and demanding square sausage.
But that's a general thing, isn't it? It's like when you go away from where you're from, you become more that thing. You know what I mean?
Yes, I mean, I've been experiencing that for 11 years now, of being so much more aggressively Irish since leaving than I ever was.
He gets potatoes on his pizza.
It's not illegal. It's not illegal.
Fucking should be.
Yeah,
But whenever I'm away, I don't have it. Like the idea of getting full English is mad.
But you're the opposite, but where you're such a
very woke.
wanky.
I'm very woke.
You're such a
You're
wanky.
very-
Oh, I actually had the thing that no one's ever heard of before.
I was in
You're-
Turkey recently. I had menemen every morning for breakfast.
Wish death upon
Many
me.
men wish death upon me, but in my eyes, I can't see.
Yeah, every morning. It's just scrambled eggs.
Is that what that song's about?
Yeah,
Eggs and Turkish eggs?
And they're wishing death upon him.
Tell you what I'm getting into, and it's so bougie and far too expensive. I love anytime I go for breakfast getting steak and eggs. It's such a crazy
Steak and eggs for
It's
breakfast.
a crazy thing to eat.
What the fuck?
It's such a crazy thing.
This
to
is
eat.
this is you trying to hit a protein goal, isn't it?
Partly, but it's also just so. The day in the morning before I got the train up to Edinburgh last year for the Fringe, I got steak and eggs for breakfast, and I swear it gave me energy for the actual whole month.
Do you know what? I can see that. Like I usually have eggs and bacon a lot in the morning.
I couldn't put away a steak first thing in the morning. I can't. I actually don't eat till midday really, and I'll have porridge then. But like eating a steak first thing, that's fucked.
Have you ever done it?
No.
Give it a go.
Listen, we all know my bowels are fucked up, right?
Yeah, but steak's good.
I can't be eating a steak first thing.
Steak's good. Steak's one of the good things. You can't eat stuff
I need
that's
to
good
warm
for
up.
you.
I need to warm up to eating anything.
With
Do you know
oats?
what I mean? Yeah.
What did you have for dinner when you have steak for breakfast?
Oh,
Cereal.
I don't know. but-
Weetabix.
Because that feels like a big. Because if I have a big lunch, often I'll have a small dinner to compensate.
What's a big lunch to you? I don't
Well,
know.
if it's something that you would have for dinner.
I'm naturally like a binge eater. Like I will eat a lot of food.
Mhm.
And it was only when I started doing the fucking personal trainer, and he was like, right, count your calories. And I was like, oh, I've been eating 3 times as much as I should have been eating. This
Is that because I was saying to you
unbelievable.
before we started recording, you're looking lean, so you've got a PT?
Yeah,
that
I've
what's
lost
done it?
2.5 stone in 6 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
You were
Yeah.
always pretty like lean anyway.
You weren't a big
I
boy. You're
feel-
quite broad, so I think you wear like body
It's sort
fat
of
well. I guess.
spread out over
Yeah.
my whole body. Well, this is what a lot of the weight has come off my
You've
feet.
got fat feet. You were saying.
I'm down a shoe size,
Are
man.
you really down a shoe
What?
size? I thought that was a
all
joke.
all my shoes are too big.
How fat were your feet? That's crazy.
All my shoes are too big now. Isn't that
That's-
fucking awful?
That's nuts.
in my life. That's expensive.
You only hear about that with like anorexic teens, where it's like, oh, their feet, they lost so much weight that their
No.
feet were small.
Fucking hell,
yeah.
you're becoming more Irish. You're going on fucking hunger strike as soon as
I'm experiencing a
But
very
fucking
low-
Bobby Sandals here,
very-
he's fucking small.
Bobby Sandals.
There we go.
Come on, get
There
him on.
we
Have I
go.
got news for you tomorrow?
Fuck's sake.
Bobby Sandals.
Unfortunately, the predominantly English audience would not know who Bobby Sands is. Or maybe they would now because of the success.
Of the glorious kneecap.
Say nothing more.
I'm going, what? Oh,
I sure
say nothing
is
more.
big. I say,
I tried to on ChatGPT the other day. I thought it would be funny to see if I could get them to make an audio of Gerry Adams singing "You Say It Best When You Say Nothing at All," which
did it
And
work?
how did that work?
I don't think. I think you need to pay for the one that does the audio.
I
stuff.
have ChatGPT Premium.
Let's do it right now. The smile on your face lets me know.
Lets me know that you need me.
We don't
There's
need
a look in your
ChatGPT.
eye saying you'll never leave me. what's the fucking the something says you'll catch me whenever I fall. You say it best when you say nothing at all.
You should have put on my glasses for that. Let's redo that. Let's do that for the club.
There we go.
Yeah, this is Gerry Adams singing "You Say It Best When You Say Nothing at All."
The smile on your face lets you know that you need me. There's a look in your eye saying you'll never leave me. What's the next
The touch
line?
in your hand says you'll catch me.
The touch of your hand says you'll catch me whenever I fall. You say it best when you say nothing at all.
Wow. Keir Starmer says that's inappropriate. Actually, what he just did.
Yeah, I'll never get booked to glass.
Yeah, Gerry Adams has just been blocked from Glastonbury.
Yeah.
What the fuck's he talking about that when America are dropping bombs on Iran? Keir Starmer's like, but Glastonbury. It's fucking
It's the
insane.
final straw. Well, maybe he just thinks that Kneecap, and they're talking about the IRA, he thought they were talking about Iran.
Yeah,
It's just
maybe.
only one letter away.
Up Iran? Is that what they're
Up
saying?
the ran. Up the ran.
Up Iran?
Up the ran.
Up to Iran.
Ooh, up the ran.
Oh, dearie me.
It's so great. It's a very weird time to be from Belfast. The minute it's all
Aye, I
just
bet, I
fucking-
know.
Your new show, you get into this a bit, do
A
you?
lot, yeah. It's sort of like in and around. It's just basically it's all about the Middle East and Northern Ireland.
Wow.
It's the sort of
Well, I was just on tour in Ireland, and when I was driving about, I was listening to Say Nothing, and I got.
that's crazy.
I know, because I was in Belfast for a few days, and then Derry, and then came back to Belfast, and like so. See, when I was in Belfast, and I was listening, it was still the bit. Where
You're
it was like,
driving past the bodies that the book is talking
it's
about.
great. It was nuts. and then actually Paddy McDonald gave me a lift. Right, he drove us round like
In his fucking Porsche.
yeah, and Divis and all this kind of stuff. And then
He gave you the tour.
he gave
Driving
us
around the
gave-
roughest area of Belfast in a white Porsche. He's so funny.
But that white Porsche is to signal peace, Vittorio. That's
Yes,
the
of
thing.
course. He has a green and an orange one as well.
But no, it was funny because like you're walking about in like Belfast, is a pretty small city, and like the Falls and the Shankill and all that is right outside the city. I mean,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it feels like a wee suburban thing, like they'd be like 10 miles outside. It's like right outside the city centre, and this is where all the shit went down. And it's like, and then also it's hard to picture because it's just like a modern, normal city. You could be in Birmingham or Glasgow, whatever. And you're,
Don't tell me Belfast's like Birmingham. Birmingham's a fucking dump.
well, there's a few bombs going off there as well. But,
Same guys doing it.
no, but you know what I
They're
mean?
on
Could
tour.
be, it's just like another modern UK city, and you realise like, oh, this ship's
Yeah,
happening.
it's very
not that
chill
long ago.
now. It's very like it's sort of very metropolitan now. Belfast. It's very trendy. Nice pubs, nice restaurants. Like a bizarre number of nice restaurants.
What's that hip? There's a hip street with all like umbrellas. What's that?
Oh, that's around the Duke of York and
Yeah.
like the Harp Bar, that type of stuff. I can't remember the name of the street, but
like-
yeah, cobbles and the umbrellas and all the cool like Guinness
'Cause-
signs and everything.
Without stepping on the toes of your show, but see when you were growing up then in this, because I know like Kneecap called themselves ceasefire babies and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like,
that's what we're called. Yeah,
how was
I'm
it?
like the exact same age as them.
Wow. So what
I
is
think
it?
Liam Oak's like 28 and I'm 29.
So what was it like then? Like living in? Was it just a thing you sort of were vaguely aware of, and then as you get older, you sort of figure out more about what was happening?
I
or-
think we're less aware of it than people who grew up in Glasgow.
yeah, maybe.
Because our parents like fucking are just traumatized.
They
so
don't wanna
don't
talk
talk
about
about it at all.
The good thing about listening to Say Nothing for me, it was filling in a lot of the blanks of the songs that I'd heard all my life. I'm like, oh, is that who the men behind the wire are?
Yeah. That is funny. It's like you're reading like the vinyl insert with
Aye.
all the like background info
Oh,
of the songs.
I'm like, Armored Cars and Tanks and Guns really did try and take away their sons.
But this is what all my mates from Glasgow know way more rebel songs than I do. Because
Yeah.
like my parents were just very much like, nope, let's not talk about that. 'Cause-
Yeah.
But then like if you moved a few generations before, you're like still connected to it, but maybe don't. Like just feel much more comfortable talking to your kids about it. But
Yeah, totally.
like there's weird stuff like you can't wear a GAA top or like a Celtic top out.
And
In Belfast, you wouldn't wear even a GAA top out.
No.
Because
Like,
I
no,
seen there was-
maybe different now, but like it was just like depending on where you're going, but like just it's just not. They're just nutcases. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got in loads of trouble online once for saying that there was a thing in Belfast a few years ago now where there was this guy who was like attacking women at nighttime, and it was like in a certain area, and it was like women between 18 and 30, and they were all blonde, and the police put out a statement being like, oh, if you are within this sort of like demographic, don't, like, we would advise like not walking alone at nighttime, like until we can apprehend this guy. And people had a real go at the PSNI for being like, oh, this is fucking victim blaming, like women should be able to walk wherever they want, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like rambling on a solo podcast being like, I think like you just have to, I don't think this is victim blaming. It's like until we can catch this guy, this is who he's going for. So we're making you aware of this. Especially in a city where you can't wear certain shirts, certain places. You'd be told to take off your school tie and blazer if you're getting a bus through a certain area of town so people don't know you're a Catholic. It's like, none of that's victim blaming. It's just taking account like nutcases.
Yeah. Would that still be a thing where like take off your blazer and stuff? And, wow.
It did always make me laugh when you were saying that thing about like if somebody gets stabbed after a Celtic or Rangers match and they go, well, what were they wearing?
That's the first thing somebody will ask.
Yeah.
If you're like somebody was stabbed in the Shankill Road, like what were they wearing? It's like, oh, a Celtic top. He was asking for it.
Yeah.
It's a victim blaming place.
Yeah. Stabbed after a Celtic. What was he wearing? A 6-inch miniskirt. That's completely reasonable.
Oh
Maybe the last thing you get stabbed in fucking Belfast, I think. Well, there you go.
You mentioned you mentioned Guinness a minute ago, right? And I was just, this is like completely changing the subject,
No,
but
no.
I thought it was interesting, right? I was just in Turkey, as I mentioned, many men, and over there, right? You're not allowed to advertise alcohol,
Right.
so all the brands, in order to advertise,
Oh.
they've figured out, right? So every sort of bar you see in the Guinness font, it just says the words greatness.
That's
Right.
class.
And in the Budweiser font, it just says the word king, right?
Yeah.
So like, I know you get there, you go, why does it fucking say greatness and king everywhere? And it's like how the Turkish beer
Oh,
brands
that's
have
funny.
got
I
around.
thought you were going to say like they advertise like the zero version of it or whatever.
No, that's common now. That's how they're getting around like football sponsorship, and right? Is they have like the alcohol-free version.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And they have zero in like a tiny little things, right? Because it's still advertised Guinness.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like
Greatness in a Guinness font is so funny. It's so funny. Just the guy absolutely fucked in a pub being like, greatness.
Is that like their slogan, or is that did they just? Pick
I've
it?
never heard that before. Yeah,
No, but it's just a few letters swapped
that's
out.
it. It's just like a similar length word that when you're
Good.
just like your brain does that thing where you're like, oh yeah, that's Guinness.
And as a recovering alcoholic, did you go there knowing that you can't like advertise alcohol, and then you're like, "Fuck,
No, 1 pint of greatness, please.
1 pint of greatness for the king. Thank you. How's Turkey? I've never been.
It was cool. I was on a stag do.
Okay.
Istanbul's not a classic stag do place.
No, I would say that's a stretch.
Majority Muslim country.
I always associate that with when Liverpool were there. I always remember one of those fans who got arrested, and he was like in jail for years in Istanbul.
Was he after
I
2005?
think so.
For doing what?
Dunno.
Right, okay.
Probably try to leave the game at half time.
No, but it was, you could tell that there was about 13 of us, and you could tell that
That's a good size stag do.
it was.
That's a nice size stag do. I was on a 35 recently.
That's
Oh,
Yeah.
that's too much.
Fucking
34
ridiculous.
friends. Come on to fuck.
Cunts in their 20s.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Too many cousins as well. Like I'm close with all my cousins, so that's like 15 people.
Who was the stag in relation to you?
My cousin.
Your cousin, aye.
Yeah. And then there was,
Aye.
8 other cousins.
That's
and
a-
then all of his actual
That's
mates.
another Irish Catholic stag.
Yeah. You could tell that big groups of British lads don't go to Istanbul very often because all of the bars were genuinely happy to see us.
Oh, okay.
Hello, my friend. You're like, okay, 13 pints of greatness.
And a greatness zero.
Yeah.
For the guy with putting a miniskirt.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was very organised. How do you feel about organised fun on a stag do?
You're talking to the right guy.
You like, of course, yeah.
Talking to the right guy. Give me a
Autism
spreadsheet.
Central,
Give
yeah.
me a spreadsheet.
Bro, you should see. There was a PDF that went in the group chat before.
There's usually at least one on a stag.
There's at least one PDF file on a stag do.
I don't know the laws of consent in Istanbul or Turkey, but I don't know if it counts.
I reckon
It
that's
turns out it was a
Should we
PDF's
guess?
idea to go to Istanbul in the first place.
Is this bad podcasting to say? Should we all take a guess at the age of consent in Turkey?
I reckon it's 16.
I reckon it's a. That's
I'm
a 13.
reckoning
That's a
14.
You reckon 13?
I think 14 is.
Well,
Let's find
like-
out exactly how much
We've
trouble
got a
I'm in.
fucking tech here today.
Pull that up, Jamie.
Getting the fucking
Can
lap.
we
What are you
look
doing
at
your
that? Can we
phone?
get that up?
He's got a computer right in front of
We've
him.
got a fucking 13-year-old over here.
Fuck, man.
Get Merlin to check it. I don't want this on my fucking.
Yeah, I
check my history.
2 weeks after coming back from Istanbul, what is the age of consent?
Yeah, what is the
in
age of
Istanbul?
event? Nearest STI clinic.
That's funny. So I'm guessing. you
Is
said
abortion
16?
legal in Istanbul?
16, 14, 13. 18!
Alright, a couple
We
of the boys
are
are in big trouble.
Islamophobic.
Well,
We did like a pub crawl day where the stag was separated into 2 groups and they were like competing, and then
To get through, what's the competition?
the competition is to collect a certain like amount of like different selfies that you had to get.
Like scavenger hunt.
Sort of, yeah. So one of them was who can get a selfie with the oldest woman.
I really like that. I really like that.
what was it? What did you get to 14 or?
But like so it was, and it was, yeah. So it was all stuff
Because
like.
Turkey strikes me as a place similar to Italy. They got some real old ladies
It was really
hanging
hard
about.
to find because it's so hilly where we were staying
Ah,
that there were old women were.
gotta go to the bottom of the hill.
You had to go to the bottom of the hill to find the old ladies, and then you have to like approach a lady who does not speak English and try and get it had to be a selfie. It couldn't be like a sneaky creep shot. It had to be like
Yeah.
a smiling selfie. I'll
Yeah.
show you what.
Oh yes!
I can show you. I don't know if I want to put this because it's not me in the thing, so I can't put it in the.
That's
Can we,
such
can we
a-
blur out the other person's faces?
Well, we'd have to blur out both of their faces, I think.
which would be pointless.
That's such a great game, though.
Yeah, so it was good. It was
That is a dangerous place to play that kind of game, though, where if they're no used to a sort of stag do culture, because at least if you go to some, even in Spain or whatever, like
No, you're getting attacked with water pistols in Spain, though.
really.
They're like tourists out.
Oh, they don't want them.
Yeah,
Fair
they're
enough.
Go. Here's my friend with the oldest woman
Oh,
we could find.
that's very cute.
He went up and she was very happy to have a picture with him, and
That's
yeah,
lovely.
we won that round.
I feel like that could be cheated if you just took a selfie with anyone and then used the
Snapchat.
agent thing.
Yeah.
Went to find a football lookalike as well. We found a Riyad Mahrez.
Cool.
Yeah, that's
Only-
a tough one in Turkey.
only
Just be
vaguely
like,
racist.
He looks like all the other ones.
Yeah. There was a lot of Gundawans.
This guy looks like this guy looks like Riyad Mahrez and Mohamed Salah. Whoa, what?
I was a bit worried, being sober on a stag do, but luckily
Is
everyone.
this no way is this your first sober stag?
No, I've done a couple now, but what's getting easier is my friends are all getting older. So they would have a few pints throughout the day, and then we would be in like at the evening activity, which was like booze focused, and they were all just sitting there going,
Loaded.
just like the idea of drinking 6 pints now was like really harrowing for a lot
This
of
is
them.
the beer. I'm sort of off drinking loads of beer.
Mm.
I still have a night on the Guinness every so often. The greatness.
The greatness.
But I'm like, if I'm on like a mad one, it's rum and Diet Coke all the way.
Yeah.
Because it just sits in your belly so much nicer. It's the bloating of like a night on like Budweiser would fucking kill me.
100%.
I'll need to shit in the middle of the evening is what will happen.
Where did you go on your stag? The 35?
I'm not married.
No, the 35.
The big
the one
group
you're talking about.
35.
The 35 one, Manchester.
Yeah,
Which,
it
do
seems
you
to
know-
be either like, so the ones I've done and the ones my mates have had have either been like Vegas or Istanbul or Oxford.
Yeah.
I just don't
Good
think.
pubs in Oxford, to be fair. Like,
See, if I'm going on holiday in any, I don't want to go to a place that I would just be going fucking to do a gig.
Yeah.
I sort of don't mind it because you don't want to, like, there's already a sort of cost implication to stag do's and weddings and all this fun. I'm
True.
very much in the middle of this part of my life, I think. I've gotten to the point now where it's like, if I don't feel unbelievably obliged to go to your stag do or your wedding, I'm not going. Like, it's just not,
Yeah.
it's not something I want to do. I don't like stag do's. And I like a really good wedding, but the stag, Manchester, really not very well organized. The activity on the Saturday morning was an hour and a half outside of Manchester.
Yeah, come on, bro.
And I'm like,
That's, I mean, in the UK as well, that's fucking Liverpool. That's longer. That's like Coventry or something.
crazy. It was crazy.
What was the
Crazy.
activity?
Well, it was supposed to be. There was like a couple things it was supposed to be, but then it was shitting down with rain, so we had to change it. I think we were supposed to do like a rubber tipped archery like battle.
Right.
So you're like running about, sort of
90
like,
minutes for an
sort
archery
of
battle
like sort of
was-
like paintballing, but it's like.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
person
But
rain.
then we didn't do that. We did like a hovercraft race, but it was like a time trial race. So you were just on a hovercraft one at a time on an empty track,
Yeah.
which was like, okay, well, this isn't.
Was it fun to be on a hovercraft?
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was good.
But how long are you waiting to get on the hovercraft?
But then it's also like, they're not really fun because it like a lot of the things you do in hovercraft, they take a while. Like it's
Yeah.
all, it's not like dynamic. Like a go kart is like, whereas the hovercraft's like, whoa,
Yeah.
How does the hovercraft work?
air.
So is it
Merlin?
actually float? Is it actually floating? Merlin's got the name of somebody who should know how a fucking
Merlin's probably
hovercraft
fucking
works.
3D printed a hovercraft, I reckon, in his back garden. No, it just
Have you
just
seen
blows.
Thunderpants?
I auditioned for Thunderpants.
Man, what could have been?
Yeah,
What role?
main role.
For Thunderpants?
I was.
I'm not aware of Thunderpants. Can you explain what it is?
It
What
was.
the heck?
It was a film about
with
a
Rupert
boy,
Grint in it?
Yeah, who just
Don't rub it in.
I think pre Harry Potter.
No.
Maybe
the-
post first Harry Potter.
Yeah. He was around by then. It's just a boy who can fart, right?
Big fart boy.
Big
And
fart boy.
He gets employed by an opera
How
singer
did
at
I
one
not
point.
get that fucking part, man?
I mean, God,
Come on to fuck.
he's the fartiest. He's the fartiest boy.
Rupert
at the
Grint's never done a
Fringe.
fucking fart in his life.
Really?
He
That's-
wasn't the fart boy.
You think
He was
that-
the scientist.
You think your colitis has just come on as you know you
It's my body.
still trying to audition for that
Catching
role?
up.
Subconscious trying to get cast in Thunderpants.
Yeah. Does he have a fart hovercraft?
Yeah,
Right.
that they,
I didn't watch it at a protest.
and then he like there's like a rocket where
Dirty
he,
protest.
they like fuel it. I think it's
Not
like
a silent protest. Hard to do when you fart as much.
Yes. Yeah. multiple things happen in it. There's I will say the lead in Thunderpants, I think, has done nothing since and is portrayed as like the ugliest, fattest boy.
Yeah.
The fullest of farts.
That's what my mum said at the time.
No, darling, you're too good looking for that role. That's why he didn't get it.
I mean, yeah, he looks like Kim Jong Un. Can we get a picture up of the lead in Thunderpants?
Thunderpants. We'll slice that in.
Tell you another audition I had. It was for you must have read a bit of background research on your condition. The Curious Incident of the Dog at the Night Time.
Big, loved it.
Mark
I've
Haddon.
seen the play as well.
So the guy who wrote that wrote a TV show that was for BBC, and it was about two brothers, a guy and his brother had Down syndrome, right? And they were climbing up a mountain in Wales in this big TV drama. And I got down to the last two for the lead part, right? This was like a big fucking BBC thing. I was like 14 years old or something, 15 years old. I was like, this is going to be fucking great. I'm going to get this part. And my agent told me it's between you and one other boy. The other boy has just landed quite a big TV role. So, and it like starts next, well, not just landed, he's just filmed. It's going to come out in like the next week or so. And they're going to basically see how that goes. And if that's well received, he's going to get the part. And the TV show came out next week, and it was Skins, and the boy was Nicholas Hoult. Yeah.
And he ended up getting that part.
He got the part, and I just went back to Dagenham and farted on my own.
Part like nobody's listening.
Are you going up?
So I have a fucking irrational hatred of that cunt ever since then.
Nicholas Hoult.
Oh, that's funny. You can't watch Warm Bodies.
He's in some great films.
Yeah.
He's Mad Max. He was in, which I really liked. He's in Juror Number 2 recently. Really, really good film. And I watched it. Go, this could be me.
Did you ever watch that thing about the Down syndrome kid?
I couldn't watch it.
I don't
bring
watch that
myself.
stuff.
Man, you could have had a totally different career if
I was slightly better at acting. That's also what is,
I think when you're down to the last two, it's literally what side of the bed the casting director gets out of that morning. Like it literally just, it's whatever. Like, I don't know. Are you going up for it? Are you still like self-taping and auditioning for shit?
Very occasionally, but I'm so
you're a trained boy.
Not trained. I went to a university and did drama, but I didn't go to drama
He
school.
went to fucking Queen Margaret and fucking what's it called?
Yeah. It's Queen Margaret University.
No, what's the name of the place outside Edinburgh again? Musselburgh?
In Musselburgh. yeah. Susan Boyle went there.
Did she?
She's doing well.
She studied nursing, yeah.
I'm trying to pitch a podcast that she's on the list of potential guests for.
Oh, I thought you could co-host. That'd be great.
Imagine me and Subo.
Angelone and Subo.
Good God.
Doing something doing like video game reviews or something.
I think we just do whatever.
Travel through Italy.
This is the thing. Whatever Ramesh and Rob Beckett's last TV show is, we just do the exact same stuff, but it's me and Susan Boyle. We're gone fishing. Me and Susan Boyle gone fishing.
I got heckled by Susan Boyle one time.
What?
In a roundabout way, because I was gigging in this place called Bathgate.
I would have been at that
Theatre.
show. It was we were in the cafe of the.
I don't think you were at this specific one, maybe, but
Right, okay.
maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, we're in. So the Bathgate Regal Theatre gig, they would always have it in the cafe because you wouldn't sell enough tickets to be in the main auditorium. But in the main theatre that night, once a year in Bathgate, the kids, the local kids choir or school or whatever, would have a big concert, and Susan Boyle would always go and watch it. And then at the end, she gets up and sings a song. So I'm on stage, and all you hear for the next room is, "I dreamed a dream of time gone by," and like everybody, including me, is like, "I don't want to go into that room and see what's happening."
She can sing. The lady can
She
sing.
can fucking sing.
Right, guys, Marc here, just dipping in to remind you that we are on Patreon for as little as just £3 a month. You can sign up, get access to an extra episode every 2 weeks, plus bonus content from all our previous live shows. That includes, for fans of Vittorio Angelone, who's on this week's episode, is a live show with him. He was very steaming as well, so if you want to see him when he's a bit drunk, do check that out. But they're all really fun. Mike Rice is up there in one of them as well. A bunch of others, including Behind the Scenes from the Pavilion, behind the scenes documentary from the Edinburgh Festival. So if you're interested in the Fringe and what it's like for performers and stuff like that, that is behind the paywall as well, and plenty of other stuff. Over 50 hours of bonus content for you to enjoy. As we have, or no doubt will be getting to discuss in this episode, depending on when this is slotted in. Obviously, Liam's special is out on the Some Laugh YouTube channel this coming Sunday, which I believe is, what date is it in bloody July? Is there something for July 5th? I want to say 5th of July. That sounds a bit right to me. But basically, Liam's special will be out this coming Sunday. It's the 6th of July. Bastard, it was so close. But yeah, 6th of July, Liam Withnail live at Monkey Barrel. It's the greatest hits of Liam's stuff, and it's absolutely brilliant. It looks beautiful as well, so please do check that out. And of course, in the last couple of weeks, we've released Chris McArthur Boyd special and Moen, which was at Stag Glasgow. It's a wee crowd work one if you want to check mine out. Chris McArthur Boyd's was at the Pavilion Theatre. And to come, we've still got Roscoe McClelland and our very own Stuart McPherson doing their stand-up specials. They'll be all on the Some Laugh YouTube channel every Sunday for the next couple of weeks. So do check out the Summer Laugh series if you haven't already. Not to mention the other stand-up specials that are all there. So there's plenty to enjoy across the Some Laugh cinematic universe. And of course, if you'd like to see us live in the flesh, we will all be at the Edinburgh Festival this August. So hopefully catch yous there. A couple of previews through the summer as well. If you check out the description, if you want to see us in Glasgow or the likes as well. And I think that's about it for now, guys. So aside from that, I'll let you enjoy the rest of the episode.
The pod idea was called Special Interest, and I want to just interview autistic people about their special interest.
Oh,
I think she's recently like adult diagnosed.
Yeah, because you did you just get a diagnosis recently?
No, I'm on the way. I had my first appointment with a specialist like last week.
How did that go?
Well, I mean, it's quite a subjective thing, but so just like they ask you everything for an hour and a half, and then she was like, "Look, I can't."
And you just said nothing. Like, no,
like,
I'm not telling you Brits anything.
Say nothing.
I just picked a spot in the wall.
I don't have to tell you anything.
I was building a house in my brain.
No, so what kind of shit did they ask then? Just like
everything. What were you like as a kid? Can you tell us anything? But it's mad, and I think this happens very often. Talking to Pierre Novelli about it, like often people who think they might have autism have done quite a lot of reading on the topic.
Yeah.
So you're sort of saying things you're sort of conscious to not like frame it in a very like, because you know what the diagnostic criteria are basically.
Yeah.
You don't want to be like, well, I fidget in this sort of way when I get stressed, and you don't want to be like, I stim. It's stimming. I'm stimming. Because you know what all the symptoms are. So it's sort of this weird thing where I go, and I know that'll be that, and that'll be that, and that'll be that. But like, you're aware of yourself sort of ticking the boxes, and she was very like nice about it. And like sort of just the odd thing you'd say, but she'd be like, oh, that sounds really difficult to deal with. And you're just like, oh, nobody's ever like said that's anything other than fucking annoying.
Yeah.
And then at the end, she was like, look, it's basically 4 sessions to get the diagnosis. And they're like, at the last one, there has to be like 2 of us here. So I can't tell you anything like right now, but you're heading in the right direction.
You're down to the final 2 for the autism diagnosis.
But what's mad is
you and Liam with me. Who's going to get the part? Pipped again.
But my girlfriend and my mum have to do questionnaires.
Oh, really?
About it. My mum sent me the cutest text when she got the questionnaire in the email. And she was like, what did she say? She said, like, I assume they take into account that I thought you were a wonderful young boy. And I was like, that's very sweet, but you must be saying some mad shit about me in this question.
Yeah, for her to suddenly go, I do need to tell him that I like him. Just written it all out and gone, I should just double check that Vittorio knows that I do like him after writing everything here. Yeah.
So I have to do a big long questionnaire, and my girlfriend does. And I think it's only because girlfriend basically like we've been together so long that it functions as like partner.
Yeah.
We've been together for 7 years. So yeah, they all have homework to do now.
And has it, see, since you've started doing reading up and all that kind of stuff on it, has it made it easier to like recognise when you're like stimming or something like that to sort of know what you're doing, becoming more conscious?
I feel like I'm
of it?
acting way more autistic, which people talk about as like the unmasking process of like once you sort of go down the pathway of diagnosis, you like stop feeling obliged to perform the character of like normal man.
Right.
But I'm just fucking. But I sort of hate it, and I think I need to come to terms with that. I just like even on stage, I'll catch myself just like looking at the floor way more than I would have normally, and I don't even know if it's just I'm like overly aware of it or whatever. But I'm like fuck sakes. But then I probably just need to be slightly more fucking.
So,
this is why you get.
So it's
diagnosed.
made you worse, is what you're saying?
Yeah, honestly, the process of getting diagnosed has made me way more autistic.
Is this in a new show as well?
No, I talked more about the autism stuff in the last show.
Yeah.
And the prospect of it. I mentioned the sort of diagnosis process, but there's mad stuff you notice about yourself that you're like, oh, that's really on the nose, kind of autistic. Like my reading habits. I really like reading nonfiction more than I like reading fiction. But I also, the only fiction that I find really easy to read is when it's in the first person, like Kurt Vonnegut stuff.
Well, that's a sign of you're a person of your generation, because that's, I think, apparently that's all modern.
Really?
All modern
I have
novels
autism?
at their own. No, it's like a Gen Z thing almost. Like everybody, it's got to be in the first person.
Right.
Because we're more individualistic
Yeah,
or whatever.
okay.
It's all to do with the phones and all that kind of stuff.
Kurt Vonnegut was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
But I
That's
just
so
think, like, when I'm reading a book in the third person, like, because Kurt Vonnegut's always like, the main character is always a writer. And I'm like, well, this makes sense. They wrote down all of the things.
Yeah.
that
I know.
And
See,
I'm reading them now.
I've always said before, because I studied English at uni, right? And I used to always think, like, how come it was never a fucking plumber in the novel, right? And so many of them, for all these people that are meant to be so bloody imaginative.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's always,
They're always a writer. They don't fucking hit you a day. Make them work in a pub or something, like Always Sunny or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Make them do something. It is funny. But then with books in the third person where it's like, and then Sally said this, and then James said this, I'm like, how the fuck would you know? You weren't even there. 'Cause
Right,
Sally
okay.
or James would have spoken to you at some point.
You're having trouble with the perspective of where the
Yeah, I'm like, what
narrative
the
is
fuck is
coming
going
from.
on? And I know that's insane. That's so fucking crazy to be
No,
like,
it's right though. It's the internal logic of it. Doesn't
Yeah.
it make sense?
You should read Clara in the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. It's about
That's a big, like,
Did you read that where you're eating your fucking many-men?
there was like a couple months on the tube where every cunt was reading Clara in the Sun, and I
Yeah.
was really like, they all like, you know, you're just like all the trendy people in London are reading the same book at the same time at all times.
They've got
And it
their movie
It
tote
was
bags.
Clara in
and
the Sun. It's
yeah.
intermezzo at the minute.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of intermezzos on the tube.
got given that for my birthday. Clara in the Sun is from the perspective of like a robot.
Oh, get me that book.
That's top tier autism stuff right there.
Fucking
First
right.
perspective, robot stuff.
Yes, please.
Oh yeah, you'll be into
Yeah,
that.
class.
But then Intermezzo is about chess, so that's also pretty autistic.
I never even read the like normal people or conversations with friends.
Ireland's having a real moment, right? With,
artistically across the board.
do you say autistically or artistically?
Artistically. But I mean, Sally Rooney's a bookish lady.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit envious, to be honest, because there is so many, and look, because all the actors, everybody loves
Former
They're
Scout,
Mescal's
Fontaines DC, and
the
Marc
music, and all that, and it's
Kilburn,
fucking, it's just
See
Scotland.
Matt
It's not the same.
Blankham,
Yeah.
I'm not talked about in these conversations, despite how many times I tell my PR for the Fringe, can you get me in one of these fucking the Irish Wave of Artists articles?
I mean, regardless of whether, and I'm on record with saying these lists are often a stupid lot of shite, but you are. I would put you and Mike right up there with the rest of them.
It's like it's kind of like the Irish version of the British invasion of like the 90s. Yeah.
That comes up in the show a little bit, just that comedy isn't spoken about in like artistic terms.
Mm.
Do you call yourselves artists?
I don't really think it matters. If you want to call yourself an artist or no, I think it's up to you. I think that I heard a good description of comedy once. It's like it's a craft that can sometimes be elevated to an art.
Yeah.
And I'll
Yeah,
take that. I would say.
But then you could say like there's lots of music is just entertainment and just
Aye.
craft. And
Garrett Millerick has spoken about this really well before. He said this is like when we talk about comedy as an art, but not all comedy is an art. And if you compare it to like cooking, so like they're at the very top level of cooking, you have Michelin star chefs, right? And they are artists, okay? And so there can be a debate about who is the best artist there. What we can't debate is whether or not an egg is cooked. And that's all like a very basic, like...
It's like getting a laugh.
Yeah, just a functional craft of a joke is just you've cooked an egg.
Yeah.
But when at the very top level it becomes art.
Because whether it's an egg or it's a joke, it's a bit of crack. Am I right?
Okay.
So see, it's not all art.
That's
You
art.
couldn't have proved
That's
that better.
art. That's fucking art, baby.
Speaking of art, how's the we're sort of midway through the summer laugh series.
Yes, my artistic piece, which was basically me doing 15 to 20 minutes of crowd work, has just come out. And then
But that's jazz, you know.
That's jazz.
Freeform comedy.
hey, couple
you know.
legs were cracked down. Hey, let me tell you. But this coming week,
I'm
Liam
so
Withnail.
excited for all of these. So yours is coming out next.
Mine's next, yeah. We recorded it in December, and
And this is your sort of greatest hits.
yeah, kind of. It's just, I mean,
Club bangers. No, that's what I call Withnail.
that's not what. That's what
I can't
call
believe
it
it's not
now.
Withnail.
I can't believe it's not Nicholas Holt, the bastard.
That was the addition. Everything. I can't believe it's not Withnail.
Yeah, it's just you know, I've been around a bit longer than both of you boys, and well, Mark, I guess, was a similar situation to me. We've both done hours for a few years before it became the norm to like film and put out your hour.
Sure, yeah.
Because like even pre-pandemic, not many acts were like
I think that's so sad that there's all these like brilliant fringe shows
just disappeared.
that just
Just
are
don't
nowhere now.
exist.
Well,
Yeah.
I remember years ago knowing somebody who'd filmed a couple of A-casters once, and it was like when he'd got the ones he'd get nominated for, and I always remember thinking, God, is he not going to date with them at some point? And then
They did all four.
Yeah,
but it is, it's true. It's like when you think about the amount of time and effort that a lot of people put into their fringe shows, that then they just never then recorded.
There's something quite nice about that in like a way of like
You have to come see
it
it.
was just in the room. I like I'm a big film every gig guy, but I like not filming some gigs, and
Yeah.
then something class happens and you go, all right,
Yeah,
that was just for the
happened.
people in the room, and
It was
that's
just for the people in the
class.
room.
And it's sort of mad that you're like, oh fuck, that'll just be for the people in the room. That is what it is. Like as an art form, it should just be for the fuckers in the room.
And they've got their money's worth that night. They've seen you do that thing live that they've seen, and nobody else gets to see it, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the beauty of it. I
Did you have a
suppose.
fun time? Was this the first? It's not the first time you filmed the show, or it is?
I've had shows like filmed before, but not with a look to release them, just for archive
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
But this was the first time I've ever like booked
a proper.
a crew,
And you had like a set. You had like
got a set designer,
So
and
it's lovely, by the way. It's beautiful.
Looks good.
all the foil and
Sparkly.
stuff. Yeah,
It's like an old, almost like sort of a modern take on the old working man's club
This
type
is
of
exactly
thing.
what we were going for, Mark. Thank you very much. Yeah, and the blue suit is all part of that as well. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like-
no, it's crying.
So yeah, it's just the best of. It's just all my best small little jokes
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
years that I don't have on camera. And then when the day after, I remembered one that I wish I'd put in. I was fucking furious because now there is no version of it anywhere. But it's an hour of just. I'm hoping, because I feel like when you release a special online, there's kind of like you're debuting all over again.
Yeah,
right?
we bet. Aye.
So it feels like a sort of classic debut of just, a lot of people's first hours, not so much anymore, but a lot of people's first hours were like, well, these are my best jokes since I've started doing stand-up.
Yeah.
And then the next year they do the emotional kind of like, and here's an hour I've written about a thing. Whereas now a lot of people's first hours are that rather than the best of.
Sure.
But yeah, it's an hour of, it was Monkey Barrel. We recorded 2 shows. They're mostly the second show, apart from 1 or 2 little bits.
Classic. It's
and-
always like vast majority one of them.
Aye.
yeah.
Not mine have both, or my first one was definitely mostly first show. I think this one will be almost all second show. The one that I've just. filmed,
But yeah, no, it was great, and the whole series is like just putting it out all together has been class.
that's exciting. So
Is-
how many are out now?
When Liam's goes out, that'll be the 3rd one, and then it'll be Roscoe's and Stuart's to come as well. So it's been a cool wee thing to get to do, and it was just sort of, it was a wee bit spur of the moment. It was actually CMB's idea, and there was just a few that were sort of lying about the one time. We thought, well, why don't we band together? And the way I thought it was like, remember back in the day, like when it was like 90s, it'd be like there'd be a lot of series. It's like, this summer we're releasing 3 new sitcoms or something.
Yeah,
So it'd be like,
yeah.
well, why don't we do every Sunday for 5 weeks or whatever? There's a new stand-up special, and it's on the one place, and it's on the YouTube channel, and it just creates a wee bit of a buzz about it.
And it's also a bunch of guys who like you. If you like one of them, you'll probably like at least
I
like
reckon
4 of them.
I reckon if you've seen any of us enough, then you'll know all the others anyway.
yeah, and
Especially if you're a fan of the pod, you know
It's
me,
similar like
Roscoe and
solar
Chris.
system. You know what I mean? It's all just kind of like guys orbiting around a thing. I think it's class. I'm
Aye.
very, very excited to.
oh no, man. Well, I mean, it's like everybody's doing the same thing, and we're all kind of in the same boat, trying to, just do our own thing and lift each other up through podcasts and putting stuff out online and all that sort of stuff. And I was thinking the other day about you because, like, I've seen obviously because you've sold out your run now and you've got a couple of extra shows on for Fringe. But I remember, like, because back kind of pandemic times, I remember maybe one of the first times I'd seen you was you were doing this thing called the Prodcast or whatever.
Yeah.
But because you'd interviewed,
My infamous sketch character.
but I mind you, also interviewed Paul Dock, who's a good friend of ours, and
Yeah.
lives around the corner from me actually. But
Podcast.
I know.
Bring it back.
it was funny because at first I always remember thinking, "Oh, is this guy?" I think that was like just straight.
So many people thought it was real, which is so funny. So for people that don't know, it was like a sketch character of the imagined idea of like a big right wing DUP voting racist guy having a podcast. And
So there's an element of you in.
and I was like, I would open it and be like, hello, it's me, William Hates the Gays. That was his name, William Hates the Gays. And people were like, is this real? It's like, what? But it was such a fun vehicle to, like, it would just be whatever was in the news that week, and I could just have the most horrific opinion on it.
Yeah.
And it was fun because sometimes, like, with topical stuff and political stuff, you feel obliged to, like, get across, like, all the intricacies of what you actually think. Where you're like, no,
And
I
it's
don't
quite
want to
fun
be
to
wrong
just
about
say,
that. Where you just
Hates the gays.
big blunt hammer to just go bang. Like, oh, you don't have to say what's right, but you can show what's wrong.
Yeah.
And that's like, it was super fun. But then people were like, oh, you should do that every week. And I stopped straight away.
Yeah.
I was on your first ever podcast. What was that? That was just Vittorio Angelone. What was it? We recorded it in Vauxhall. And-
Yeah, I think it was just Vittorio Angelone's podcast was what it was called.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I used to interview people. That's what Paul Doc was on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it must.
I've
But
had all
it's
sorts of shit.
been a crazy because it seems like that wasn't that long ago, and like
Mm.
certainly for yourself, like the trajectory's been so massive, and like even since like a year or two, like the Fringe, it's just built and built and built. It
Well, it
feels
sort
like
of happened over the course of the tour. Like the tour got extended, like the most recent one, and it was just like, and it's even mad. Like I was aware at the time, mad to like tour your debut
sure.
at the Fringe. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
a even reasonable like sized venues, and it was like, oh fuck, that's kind of mad. And then the second one was just sort of ridiculous, and the next one's crazy. That'll be on. When does this come out?
End of June.
End of June. So like in I think second week of July, the next tour goes on sale, and we're doing fucking like Hammersmith Apollo in London and like
That's amazing.
all
man.
fucking mad places. So it's like I don't really know. I've just sort of kept the foot down in terms of putting stuff out, and now I'm trying to get other people to like help
Yeah.
and shit like that. You know, I've got like my cousin producing the podcast and tour managing, and then I've given this nerd 2 hard drives of crowd work and gone, hey, just make as many
I
fucking
know.
clips as you can out of that. So it's like sort of learning to hand over the reins of stuff and have a bit of a nice time, because I have been really fucking hammering it for a very long time.
You need to learn to delegate, is what I've learned.
just trust other people to
Yeah.
do stuff for you, because it's so, especially when you've built it all yourself. Because people who just go on TV, they're like, oh well, the editors will edit it, and it's like, whereas I've made everything that I've made from like a blank page to the end product. So you're just like, no, I need to have hands on every single bit of this. But I'm sort of, it's nice to build a team of people that you really trust. I mean, like, okay, you're very good at this thing. You're very good at this thing. You're very good at this thing.
Yeah.
and sort of. You
Is
know.
there a point? So, like, where does it end? Where do you?
I don't have goals. This is
Yeah. So,
what's
like,
mad.
because you, do you know what I mean? Like, you've built a fucking massive audience, right?
Mm.
And you can sell big rooms.
Mm.
But you're still thinking about, well, let's get loads of clips out and the continued growth. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Do you think there'll ever be a point where you're like, I can fucking sit back now. I've got this many fans, probably for life. You know, I can, or
I
is
never believe in the for life thing. I think I get really like worried about that. There's a world where like in 2 years' time I just delete all my social media. It's just the mailing list. But I don't know. I don't know if I'll do that. I got offered to do like the arena in Belfast this year, and I said no. I could sell it, but I don't want to.
Why?
I don't like arenas. I don't think they're a good place to watch comedy or do comedy. I've done a couple like as a support act, and I've done like one on a lineup, and I don't care. I think one day I'll write a show that I think will work in an arena
Mm.
and like do it
Uh-huh.
for that, but I don't think it's this show. So I'm doing 6 nights in a tiny theater. Well, tiny fucking like not that small, but like
How would you think is like your last show was like your shows are generally kind of like they are sort of fringy shows in a way, like you've got a narrative and all that kind of thing. How do you find when you're on tour doing that in like a Friday night in a big room and everybody's steaming on it? Is it ever a bit a challenge, or is it like?
Can I answer that by someone who's opened for you a lot? On a Friday night, his audience aren't steaming.
they're just great.
They're excited to see him. So
Yeah.
they're
My
not-
audience are class.
They're not getting pissed up beforehand.
It's
and
not
going to
only
see
if you get
someone
fucking
random.
as cunts coming, but they're a sound.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I'm like exceptionally.
I fucking love opening for this cunt because they're also really good to the supports.
They get it.
They totally get it. Vittorio, he comes out and he's fucking. This is just what he's like. He's written a bunch of jokes that are really good for bringing on the support act.
Great.
So he goes out, he does his jokes about support acts.
I wish I was autistic, man.
Have you had the vaccine?
I knew I should have taken that.
Get a booster. Fuck's sake.
And then you go out and then it's just like doing I've done one for you that was a bit like, they were a bit, and I remember we did Aberdeen and it was a bit fucked because your car broke down or something. You came really late and that was the only time it's ever been a bit crap.
Trains cancelled and the car hire company had fucked it and didn't have a car that we could have. And
Yeah, so
all
you was
this
like
bad
fucking
stuff.
blowing up inflatable Skittles behind me. Because I was trying to fucking warm up in the blue lamp. But yeah, no, so he doesn't really. So they're there, they get it, they know what they're going to see.
That's amazing.
And I just
along for the
fucked
ride.
them off. If there are people who are like being heckly or annoying, like I had it at a whip recently where they were just shouting like stuff from the podcast. And I was like, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you listening to the podcast. You're clearly like a fan of what I do, but this is really, really disruptive and people are trying to watch the show. And you just like, I'd done it in a funny way like 3 times and then they kept doing it. And I just sort of like took the show off the rails and was like, this isn't good. And then I was like, look, that's like what 80 people at a work in progress who are like, oh, he doesn't like that. He has a fucking problem with that. And we say it on the podcast fairly regularly, like, don't be heckling, don't be shouting stuff out. It's not good. And then I deliberately, when stuff goes like viral or like goes quite big, that's maybe quite laddie, maybe it's a slightly more abrasive bit of crowd work. Anytime that happens, I'll post something like softer, like fairly soon after that. Whether it's a fucking poem or whether it's like some like genuinely, and loads of them will leave.
We'll stick at that Gerry Adams clip. Just have some hard hitting thing and then just you say it.
But loads of them will fucking leave. I lose 4,000 Instagram followers every month, but I gain 4.5.
Yeah.
So it's this constant churn of like fucking people off, fucking people off, fucking people off, and it's just like I feel very fortunate that whatever is sticking is sticking. I'm chasing the algorithm to the degree that I do what I want to do and try to like frame it in a way that works for the algorithm.
Yeah.
And like if I didn't enjoy doing crowd work and crowd work shows, I wouldn't do them. I'm aware that they fucking work, but that's less true now. I think crowd work is getting very like saturated.
I know. Well, I actually had assumed that you maybe were just not going to put them out because I put out loads of crowd work earlier in the year, and to be honest, some of them were alright. It was basically every time I'd compared last year, and I put them out for a couple of months at the start of the year, and the vibe I got was like either people have seen too much of this or it's just not what they're looking for. Me.
Yeah.
And to be fair, and I do like doing crowd work as well, but I prefer.
Because I was worried about that on my first tour because all I'd put out really was crowd work.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck, these people are gonna want crowd work. And I was very lucky that they didn't. And then I put out the first special, and then the jokes, the actual material started doing better online.
Totally.
I think partly because it was filmed better and all that stuff. But like, yeah, I mean, I'm just like touch wood, very, very lucky that people that are fucking sound and get it come and see me. And then I like to push both elements of that audience. Say if they have seen like a laddie crowd work clip and it's like they are lads, maybe they saw me like have a word or whatever, who like their audience are a bit fucking madder than mine, or maybe they're to what I would call the mic end of the podcast listenership. They're a bit rowdy or a bit bougie. Exactly. Honestly, shit like
Man,
that.
honestly, seeing Mike's show and that having like seeing 200 people chant pedo throughout, and then seeing yours and you're going, I might be autistic, and I'm going pedo.
Yeah.
It's the yin and the yang. And
But is that-
I would say you're Gerry Adams and he's fucking, what'd you call him? Brendan Hughes.
I've always denied any involvement in the Guide to Parenting podcast.
You're the calculated one. He's the fucking. He's the.
He's boots on the ground.
He's boots on the ground soldier.
Getting involved, getting his hands dirty. His hands are always dirty. That's true about Mike. But I want to push those people in a more thoughtful direction. But then the people who are like a bit more fringy and a bit more, the ones with all the piercings that show up in different colored hair, I want to push them because I do some like fairly like edgy stuff.
You want to push them out or to you?
No, I want to just both
Loosen them up a bit.
I want none of them to be comfortable the whole time.
Right.
It's basically the truth of what I want my shows to be like. I want everybody to be like challenged by a certain element of the show.
That's very admirable. I would say that.
And yeah, I have a little mantra before I go on stage on tour that it's okay if some of them don't come back.
I think I told you I did a whip recently and had a exact same thing. A guy just heckling throughout, and I had to throw him out midway through the show, stop the show, and be like, "Look, you have to leave. You know what I mean? You're fucking up the show. And then he started arguing back with me. And
Yeah.
then the crowd turned on him, and they're going, you've been talking the whole show, and go, get him out, all that stuff. And he went and argued with the Monkey Barrel staff after. He said, Tam, who works here, he said to him, I can't believe I've been thrown out. I go see comedy all the time. I actually watched Ramesh Ranganathan's Netflix special last night. And it was his first thing.
Oh, sorry. Come back in.
Wait
I'm a bit of a connoisseur, actually.
Wait until you hear what he said next. He then went, look, I show how much of a comedy fan I am. And he got his mobile phone out and he had a picture. It was a selfie. And he went, do you know who that is? To Tam? And Tam looked at him and went, no, right? And he went, you work in a comedy club, you don't know who that is? And Tam went, no. And he went, that's Joe Pasquali.
This is a character act.
And Tam was like, who is that?
What was he heckling me? I've got a song that'll get on your nerves, get on your nerves, get on your nerves.
Just brilliant that he thought that would be. And this was like a young guy. This was like a guy our age, younger, who was like...
A bit of a...
I barely know who Joe Pasquale even is.
I know who Joe Pasquale is because of Stuart Lee.
The Stuart Lee routine.
And I remember him being on the telly when I was younger, but just remember it. Remember it.
And this was a young guy who was like, I go to comedy all the time.
I watched Ramesh Ranganathan's. No harm to Ramesh, nice guy ever, very good comedian. But is there anyone who's on TV more?
I know.
I know loads about comedy. I watched The Weakest Link last night.
Wasn't that funny, but it was good. Ramesh was there. I'm a big Mrs. Brown's Boys fan. I know what I'm talking about.
There's another your comedy, your Irish resurgence, isn't it?
Yeah,
He's leading the charts, really.
So your run sold out. What have you got still on sale?
So there's the Crowdwork shows Off the Cuff. If you type in that to the Fringe website, that'll come up. And then there's 2 extra shows for the show You Can't Say Nothing Anymore on the 8th and 22nd of August at McEwen Hall, which is like mad.
They'll be fucking sold out before this comes out, I reckon.
Probably.
No.
And then you've got an upcoming tour announcement as well.
Tour coming on in July.
Enjoy.
Yeah, UK and Ireland tour, lots of dates all around the place. Some exciting venues, Theatre Royal in Glasgow. Which
Oh,
looks
amazing.
Cool.
Oh,
It
nice.
looks
Yeah,
cool.
I just did that.
I've never been in there
I just
before.
opened for Nick Mohammed there. It's beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah, really good.
Nice, because I was like, the Kings is sort of like the place to do, but I just don't think the
They're
dates
all
were.
underrated as a
I
comedy
don't know why
venue.
they don't. The one thing they did do was, see when the Scottish referendum was on, they done a BBC programme that was like Bridges, Frankie, Jack D, and somebody else, and it was in the Theatre Royal, and it looked amazing.
Yeah, so that's a
It
good
looked really
venue.
cool.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Looking forward. to it.
Nice, and of course on the Some Laugh YouTube channel, this coming Sunday, Liam Withnail.
Live at Monkey Barrel. An hour of golden oldies and pure
Just
hits.
good fucking jokes.
Just good fucking jokes. My tour will be on sale as well by the time that this comes out. So
Got to
that's-
say as well, because obviously I've been in the edit a wee bit and been looking at it, and man, I've got to say when I was watching it, because it looks so sharp with the suit, and I'm watching the stuff, and I've seen all the bits over the years, but just watching it as one thing, and you're going through, I'm going, fuck man, Liam's got so many good jokes.
so many
great-
bits from back
That's
in
what
the
my
day.
cousin Connell, the tour manager, says anytime you're on. He goes, Liam just fucking great energy, great fucking jokes. He just nails it.
He just
Well,
nails it.
It's on the YouTube channel, and my tour will be on sale of the new show as well, which you've seen or listened
Brilliant, brilliant, great.
Um,
A very similar to Vittorio. Liam always puts together very well put together, really enjoyable, great kind of narratively driven Fringe shows. Some of the best.
to. Big strong boy. I'm not doing the Theatre Royal in Glasgow.
Where are you doing? Kings? Pavilion?
Not the King, not the Pavilion. It's
It's a theatre. Fuck the Royals he's doing. So he's not a fucking sellout.
We're doing.
All right, the Kings.
I bet that's just because I like Budweiser.
Wrap it up.
There you go. So many
How's that
callbacks.
for structure? Is that art? Is that art? I think so. Yes. Okay. Well, listen, guys. We'll not hang about anymore. Sign up to the Patreon, all the rest of the stuff. Check out Liam's special on Sunday, and as part of that, we'll speak to you very soon.